Yo, what's good, YouTube gang? I'm JPatz, and today we're going to be talking about consistency and just how to get there successfully. The principles that I'm going to be sharing with you today about consistency and success are pretty much applicable to any industry or anything that you want to start on your own. For me, that's music production, and for the last 2.5 years, I've been doing it full time. The way that I was able to get to this point is actually really simple. What it was is figuring out what I wanted to do and then reverse engineering and doing research on how to get to that point. So what I mean by that is that I figured out a lane that I wanted to take in music production that I could also see potential to create an income from. And for me, that happened to be selling beats online. From there, I just started doing a lot of research. So watching like a lot of interviews with other producers that were successful at this, taking courses, but also be careful of those because there are a lot of scams. So if you do a course, just make sure that it's a legitimate one. And by taking the steps to educate myself in the beat selling game, it allowed me to learn the things that I need to do in order to be successful, which is such an important part of the process. You need to figure out the steps to get to where you want to go. After doing all the research, I quickly learned that much less of it was about the actual music production, and there was a whole business side to it that was almost more important. At least it takes up much more of the time than the actual production aspect. For me, what that entailed, marketing, so running ads, creating an email list, having a website that looks good, a logo that looks good, a brand, posting content daily so people can actually find you and give you business. So all of those things are really important. But what I also want to note is that with all that being said, I think one of the most important things is that you just get started, because you could do as much research as you want, but if you just continue doing research, you're still going to be at the same spot you were before you did the research. So make sure you just get started and you're ready to dive in. By doing that, you're going to ensure that you grow really fast and you just start learning things as you try them. At this point, after I dived in, I felt really overwhelmed and just all over the place. But what happens over time is that you start to become more efficient and develop a workflow, which comes back to just getting started. Because if I hadn't gotten started and I was still doing research, I wouldn't know more efficient ways to do things. Over time, another thing I learned is that it's very important to have structure, and that could look pretty different for everyone, but I think one of the most important things is that it's there. You just got to have some form of structure. For me, the easiest way to develop structure is to just realize that I have to treat this like a 9-to-5 job. What I started doing is having specific days for certain tasks. For example, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I make sure I have 7 beats completed, uploaded, and scheduled for the whole week. And then that night, I record a YouTube video and the content for the week. And then Wednesday night, I record a YouTube video for my tutorial channel, as well as the content for the next week. Thursday, I edit all the content and upload it. And then Friday, I save for just extra and miscellaneous tasks or just things I want to do to further my career. So what that does for me is that it leaves me with a free weekend. But of course, if you know me and if you're a creative person, you probably don't like having too much time away, and you just find that you get back into working because you don't like being unproductive. But if you're going to do that and do some work on the weekends, just make sure that you're having a lot more fun with it and not taking it too seriously. Essentially, the whole idea of this is that the 2 days that you have off, so Saturday and Sunday, are just your recharging time, and it gives you time to get your mindset off of working and just prepare and be ready for the next week so that you have a whole new set of creative juices flowing and you're not just stressed all the time. Another thing that helps me a lot is operating out of fear. And you might be hearing that and being like, what? That doesn't make any sense. But for me, I don't have a backup plan for music. Like, music is what I know I'm going to be doing and what I want to do as a career. So just reminding myself of that and remembering that I don't have a choice to fail. I'm going to make it and be successful. sometimes just gives me the extra motivation or remotivates me to get whatever I need to get done. I guess you could also say just humbling yourself at points and reminding yourself that you don't have a backup plan. And I am scared of failure, so I'm just going to make sure that I don't fail, by working hard and staying dedicated, because I know it's going to pay off 5, 10 years down the line. I also think to be successful, it's really important to become an optimistic person if you are not already. For me, thankfully, I am. So I always try to see the good in bad situations. And yes, it's kind of easier said than done, but once you kind of realize that you really only have two options in a bad situation, the first is to react negatively and let it bring you down, and the second is to react positively and learn from that situation. I always just apply that when I'm going through a tough situation. And again, like I said, it's easier said than done, but I think it's really important to do that and just start trying to become a lot more optimistic. What you will realize is once you start applying this and becoming more successful is that most things are just based off of perspective. So a good example about this theory on perspective I have is just think about trying to learn something new. So let's take Microsoft Excel, for example. Think about the first day you open that up and you try to learn it. It looks crazy and foreign and you're just overwhelmed. But after a period of time of using it, you become more comfortable with it and you start to know it like the back of your hand. Now think about what changed in that situation. The program still functions the same and it still looks exactly the same. The only thing that shifted is your perspective. In my opinion, understanding the importance of perspective is crucial to being successful in whatever it is that you decide to pursue. Another thing that helps keep me sane and able to be consistent and successful is making sure that I'm taking care of my body. Just staying active every day, whether it's walking or lifting weights, playing basketball, just being active. Make sure you do something and move your body for part of the day because it's really gonna help clear your mind and just keep you healthy. If you're not healthy, you're not gonna really want to do anything. And what goes hand in hand with that is making sure that you eat in a fairly clean diet. Obviously, you don't need to starve yourself of things and not enjoy food anymore, but I just like to make sure that for me, most days I'm eating well, and then maybe a day on the weekend I eat badly or something. But I can feel the difference in how negatively it affects me when I'm eating badly. Of course, I'm not a nutritionist or doctor, so definitely go and get your own advice on this, but that's just my 2 cents and what I've learned over the time of trying to be successful and grow my business. So another thing I wanted to add in real quick is that if you're feeling overwhelmed and you know you have a lot to do the next day, just make a list. For me, I use the Notes app and make it a checklist so I could start checking or crossing things off my list. And what that does is it just outlines your day ahead. You know what you have to get done. And there's something about just visually seeing the progress and checking things off as you go that helps be productive. And lastly, make sure that you take the time to celebrate the small wins as well as the little things in life, because not every day is going to be amazing. And that's just the reality of it. You're obviously also going to have bad days, but that's just how life is. Just make sure that you appreciate in the little things, because when you do have those days that aren't so great, you still have those little wins and those little things that you can enjoy and appreciate. All in all, I think if you try to stick with these ideas, you'll find a pretty clear route to becoming successful and consistent. Hopefully this video was helpful to you or just inspired you or gave you that little push to do whatever you want to do. If it did, please don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell, because it really just helps out my channel and kind of just keeps me motivated to continue making videos and sharing my knowledge with you guys. Thanks for tapping in. I'm JPatz. Peace.